The CZ Media podcast is brought to you by Rancho Bravo Tacos. They make it really easy to get great tasting Mexican food. You can stop by any one of their 3 convenient locations, Capitol Hill, U District, Wallingford, or you can order through Uber Eats, Caviar, or Chow Now. You can also text RBT to the number 474747 and you'll get deals on tacos, burritos, and more. All of the information is in the show notes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CZ Media podcast. Before we start, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the show. There's links in the show notes. Listen to me on the website, iTunes, or Stitcher. Oh, and soon to be iHeartRadio.
Nice.
Soon to be. I haven't gotten the confirmation, but I'm going to be posting on there as well. So make sure you follow us also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. If you have any ideas, questions, suggestions, thoughts, opinions, email them or post them, czmediapodcast@gmail.com, all that good stuff. And also, I made a new design for the merch. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you don't follow the show, do you?
I don't see I need to see a post.
I posted it days ago.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, I was a little MIA a few days ago.
You've been MIA for about 2 months. Do you know the plastic grocery bags?
Yeah.
How it says thank you, basically thank you 5 times, but it's only bold once, and the other ones are transparent.
Oh, okay. No,
you know
actually,
what I'm talking about?
No, but I can visualize it.
So it's just the outline of thank you, and then the third one is filled in thank you, and then 3 more thank yous with just the outline.
Okay.
And then it's like thank you for shopping with us.
Yeah.
Well, it's turned into a fashion statement. So now you see a bunch of that everywhere for different brands.
Okay.
So I made one for the show.
Oh, nice.
It's cool. I should show it to you.
Yeah, show it to me. Does it have anything to do with your tagline?
No, it does not. But I think it looks cool, and I am going to make it an option.
Nice. Yeah, that's nice.
I'm going to make it an option for some merch.
Okay, I did see this actually. I didn't realize it was for a shirt. I need to see that on a superimposed.
Well, no. Did you click like? Because the caption of this post was new merch idea. Click like if I should add it to the Teespring line.
Oh, gotcha. You're asking a question.
Yeah.
I thought this was already a shirt I could order.
Well, it's going to be.
Okay.
Or you know what? Maybe by the time this airs, it will be.
Okay.
No, actually, yes. By the time this airs, this will be an option. So yes, go to Teespring and buy one. They're only $24.
Is it gonna be a white shirt? Because that's what I was kind of waiting on.
You know what? I have white shirts.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Actually, I have a bunch of different colors. I have white, red, a gray. Wow.
Perfect.
Wow. How's it going, Travis?
Good. How are you doing?
The audience is glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back.
We got lots of responses from the shows you've been on.
Really?
Yeah.
What has been some of the comments?
Well, first of all, they said that we need to have real scientists or real archaeologists on to educate us.
Real people?
Yeah, real learned people. You know what's so funny?
Well, let's get Graham Hancock on here.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome?
I talked to him like 5 years ago once on Facebook.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did he teach you anything?
I mean, I kind of told him like a little bit of a thought that I had about like a social phenomenon at the time.
Which was?
There was the
destruction of society by social media.
No, that's a lot heavier, or like the stuff that he talks about with ayahuasca and things like that.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah, but the thing I talked to him about, because he's like has a lot of opinions on consciousness and social consciousness and like what we do as nations and how involved government should get and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is pretty much none.
Well, and so basically, like what I asked him was, do you remember when there was that meme kind of that that discussion that took place around the color of a dress, whether it was white and gold or blue and
Right.
black.
Yes.
And then like some people would be like, oh, it started out as white and gold and then it turned to blue and black. And then I couldn't like see it back the other way. Or some people could see it one way and then see it another way
Right.
and then see it back the other way. Or some people only saw one color combination.
Yeah.
And so I kind of asked him about like, you know, is this kind of an example to maybe open up some people's eyes and that maybe what they perceive isn't always true. And
Yeah.
that maybe they should kind of go through life with a little bit more wonder, you know, not acting like they've got everything figured out, you know, that kind of thing.
Even the fact that that has to be said out loud shows that there's a lot of dumb people out there.
Yeah.
The amount of times where I've told, well, I shoot a lot of models.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't shoot them. I photograph them.
I'm like, okay, yeah.
And the amount of
save.
times that I've said, because they tell me about the people that they follow, which are like celebrities, and they're like, oh, look at this. This is so natural. I was like, no, there is nothing natural about this at all. If you follow any of the Kardashians, if you follow any of these people who have built their whole brand on how they look, they're not doing anything natural. It's all fake. It's all, this picture is, they took this picture, but behind the photographer was a team of stylists, makeup artists, wardrobe people. I was like, this is not real at all. I was like, you should, going back to what you said, question what you see, because no, these people did not just wake up and look that way as they're advertising the coffee or the tea
Yeah.
that they want people to buy. So, like, I'll tell you this other story. When I was a kid, not even, I don't know, was I a kid? I was 20, maybe 21. I worked at an off-track betting parlor just outside of Chicago, and I was maintaining their betting equipment. So I had sort of a techie job, and the valet guy on the weekends for this particular off-track betting parlor, he was a law student. He was basically working his way through college, but really smart guy. He was going to be a lawyer, came from a good family. His sister ran political campaigns out east. And do you remember Andrew Cunanan?
No.
So Andrew Cunanan, he's not a serial killer, but he was a mass murderer. Like he went on a murdering spree.
Okay.
In like, I don't know, 96 or 97. It started in Minnesota, killed a few people in Minnesota, went down to Chicago, killed a billionaire in Chicago, and then killed a cemetery worker, stole his truck, and then he ended up driving all the way down to Miami, and then a week or two later killed Versace.
That seems like kind of a weird turn of events right there. He goes from billionaire to cemetery.
Well, he killed a cemetery dude because he stole his truck.
Okay, so there was like a rhyme and reason to it.
Yeah. So this guy was infatuated with celebrity, infatuated with Versace, and angry that he wasn't rich nor famous or talented. And he ended up, there was this huge manhunt for him. The cops ended up finding him, and he had broke into a houseboat, and he ended up killing himself, dying. He killed himself. So that was big in Chicago. That news story was big in Chicago because he had killed the billionaire, the really rich guy. But they included in these stories that one of the reasons he did all of this was because he was gay and had HIV. Well, I'm sorry. It was known he was gay, but that he had AIDS and that he wanted to go out in this last hurrah, like of this crime wave. And I remember the news saying that on a few news reports said that. So the following week I go into work, and Larry was, I think his name was Larry or Alan. No, Alan. His name was Alan. Alan was there. And then we were talking about that a little bit. I'm like, oh, I guess he did that because he had AIDS. And Alan said, how do you know he had AIDS? I was like, well, they said it on the news. And then he said, did they have his doctor on? Did they show a AIDS test? Did they give you any proof? And I said, no, I don't think so. They just said he had AIDS and that's why he did all this. And he goes, then then he's like, people need to be able to prove what they say. And then he went on to tell me about how you shouldn't believe anything at face value and that you should question everything. And it was like so funny because that one little conversation early on, just it didn't make me an overall skeptic about absolutely everything. But I also don't take everything at face value from the get-go because everyone has an agenda.
Right.
Everyone has something that they're trying to sell you, and it's your own responsibility to figure all that stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So what did he agree. when you were talking about that, what was his response to you?
His response was basically, he took it from his opinion. He thought that was actually like really well-reasoned thought.
Yeah.
And he said he had to hand it to me basically
Ooh.
on thinking in that way. Because he said that originally he had just viewed it as like this trivial mass distraction, like
right.
just to kind of keep people distracted from exploring their consciousness through doing like psychedelics and things like that. Because he really actually promotes, finding yourself, your consciousness either through like meditation or psychedelics. I mean, you don't have to do psychedelics to be able to do that. You can use meditation techniques, and so, but he's encompasses all of that stuff, and he's always been like willing to speak openly about that. And so he's like the type of person where I know if I send a message asking him about my interpretation of like that phenomenon and what happened and how people responded to it, I knew I'd kind of get like at least like a open-minded response. So yeah, it was interesting to see what he said. I mean, he's actually like blown up since then because he's been on that Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan podcast.
That's how
times.
I learned about him.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about him. And it's, he made me laugh because he was talking to Joe and he said that he would only he doesn't like, he overall is not a big fan of politics. He said that he would get behind a politician who documented his use of ayahuasca. Yeah, because he's had like positive experiences going on these spiritual journeys into the Amazon and taking the brew, ayahuasca. But there's also been I want to try it.
Have you heard about those? Like, there's been some people that have actually passed away, or they've gone through people that claim that they can show you the way of ayahuasca, but they end up like robbing you or something. Sounds
down in South America.
It sounds like there's some pretenders and there's also some like legit ones that you can go down.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than getting bamboozled by your shaman.
Well, the other aspect of it is like ayahuasca, from what I understand, just from like watching the documentaries and stuff, it like completely overtakes you and takes you on like a journey. Like you don't really have any control over what happens.
I want to try it.
So it's like it's almost like you're like willingly going to like a dream state or something like that.
Can you get some?
No. I mean, I could get you a plane ticket down to Brazil.
Is it Brazil or?
It's somewhere in the Amazon.
Where is it? So you don't know anybody of here who can get it?
No, you have to go down into like the Amazon and deal with like a shaman. And then they got to mix like two plants that are, there's thousands and thousands of plants, but there's these two plants that basically what it does is like DMT. There's a enzyme that blocks its absorption in the gut. It's like an MAOI inhibitor. And ayahuasca, what it is these two plants, and one of the plants actually lifts that veil so that you can actually ingest it and still get like the DMT. So just to recap, like with DMT, like that's actually something that is secreted in our own brains through the pineal gland.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's still a lot of discussion and study that's being happened with that, but that could very easily kind of help us with our dream state.
But that's also in mushrooms, is that what you said?
That's different. No,
mushrooms are the psilocybins.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybins.
Yeah, mushroom is like a fungus. It's like a completely different branch, different chemical, all that stuff. DMT is dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's naturally secreted in your brain. But there's people that will actually smoke DMT,
Right.
which is like what happened. You get like 15 minutes, I guess, of just like this otherworldly rocket ship of an experience, from what people tell me.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like ayahuasca is different in that if you consume this brew, depending on how much you take, you go on like a full day journey. And some people have done this with going into it with like some baggage in their life. Like if you have a lot of stress, you don't really know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
It would not be a very good idea to go on something like that because
You'll kill yourself.
What it does is it, like, from what I understand, it's like it removes your ego a little bit and it makes you just face what you are and what you've done and how like true you are. And so like
Then
there's
you'll kill
people,
yourself.
there's people that have had like heart attacks on it because it just made their
They're
heart
such
race.
horrible people.
Yeah, I guess maybe they should just make people do that when they think about the death penalty.
Yeah.
And then they'll just be like, oh, you know what?
Well, let's talk about something that we can actually
all right.
get.
Yeah.
Back to these mushrooms.
No, we can't. You have to go out in the woods and find the right ones, man. There's a Joe
No,
Rogan.
but then you can die if you pick the wrong ones.
Well, that's why you gotta find an expert, man.
You hook me up with your guy.
Yeah, I don't have a guy.
Wow, you're getting so red.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because like
You have a guy.
no. Well, I mean, I'll just say this, like there's a lot of people that go through my gym where I play basketball, and I've met a lot of people that know a lot of different things, and I've had conversations with them. So
That they can get. Well, there you go. Hook it up.
yeah, well, why don't you just start coming playing basketball? That's what we should do.
No, that's a good segue. I'm depressed. If I were to take the DMT right now, I'll probably kill myself. Based off what you just said, I don't want to face myself.
What? Come on.
I had a little moment this morning where I weighed myself.
Okay.
Oy.
Yeah. Was this after breakfast?
No, it was before. And actually, it would have been worse because I weighed myself after a little 30-minute workout. So I had sweated a ton. I probably sweated 2 pounds. So I'm actually 2 pounds worse than what this number was. It was so depressing.
Okay. Are you actually going to say the number? We don't have to do that, though.
308.
308. Okay. And what do you want to get to again?
230.
Okay. So 70
So
pounds.
my number is 308. In comparison, I'm 5'11", 308. Shaq is 7'1" and weighs 330.
Yeah. He's a monster.
Yeah, but he's only 22 pounds heavier than me and 14 inches taller than me.
Okay. But you're comparing yourself to a world-class athlete.
No, I'm comparing myself that my mass
Yeah,
is
your body mass.
almost as equal to his, and he's a world-class athlete that is over a foot taller than me.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, I mean, you've already like decided that's not going to work for you. So
I need to
like,
try something.
yeah. So
Which is actually, if Trish was listening, when Trish listens to this, she's gonna roll her eyes because I can go, like she's been saying, "Hey, come to the gym." I just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have as many gyms within your vicinity, but if you just don't have that motivation to actually go,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No.
So what I did is a few weeks ago, not a few weeks ago, last week, I went and was perusing through Craigslist and someone was selling a used spinning bike. Like they did like the kinds of bikes that they have at every gym for their spinning classes.
Right.
So good quality, heavy, brand new. These things cost $1,500, $1,800, and I got it for $200. So I bought it, and so now we have a piece of exercise equipment in the house.
Yeah. Now you really don't have to ever leave.
Now I really don't have to ever leave, and on top of that, I have zero Excuses.
Well, if you can find motivation on that thing, you know, like that's half the battle. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can actually improve just with that. I mean, just by maybe incorporating some. Have you ever heard of high intensity interval training?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great way to increase your like resting metabolism, and then
That's
build
how I
strength.
normally do. That's how I normally do stuff. But right now, of how out of shape I am, everything is high intensity.
Okay.
My heart rate I can get my heart rate to 160 beats per minute by walking up the stairs at a tad bit more than a brisk pace.
So you need to start like a little slower than the high intensity interval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the very first time I got on the bike, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. I needed something to sort of shock my system. So I wore my sweatsuit. Are you familiar with what a sweatsuit is?
I have an idea.
It's basically a scuba suit.
Okay.
So fully insulating. So I wear compression pants and a compression shirt, and then put the sweatsuit over it, and then I wore a sweatshirt.
And then what'd you do? Go into a sauna?
No, then I got on. I've done that before. No, but then I got on the bike.
Okay.
And then I was on the bike for 30 minutes.
Nice.
And after about minute 13, I really thought about quitting and saying, you know what, this is good for day one.
So a minute, that's where we're starting. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
No, at minute 13.
Minute 13.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal those 13
Hey,
seconds.
those were hard earned,
yeah.
13 minutes. But I said to myself, no, I can't quit.
Yeah.
After 13 minutes, I have to be able to do 30 minutes easy.
30 minutes. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Like when I was semi in shape, I could do literally all day on the bike, like on a real bike outside, like the longest ride I ever did was like 6 or 7 hours. I did a ride called where's Posbo?
Oh, I think that's got to be by like Puyallup or something like that.
No, Posbo is.
Maybe that's on the peninsula.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was called the Kit. Is it Kitsap County?
Kitsap. Yeah, that is a peninsula. Kitsap County.
I did a ride called the Kitsap Fall Color Classic, which was like 60-mile ride, and I did it like in 6 hours. I didn't go very fast.
So do you think you could work yourself up to the point where you could bike around Green Lake this summer?
But Green Lake's flat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long is it?
I think it's basically like if you run around it. I thought I remember it being like a couple miles.
Oh, I could do that easy. If it's flat, it's super easy.
Yeah.
But
maybe do it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Just do circles.
Yeah.
I'll be there
I would
playing,
need a real bike for that.
I'll be playing basketball and you can just whiz by on the bike.
Are there any fat dudes on your team or on anyone else's team?
Oh, and for basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, there's always some fat dudes that play. They're tough to guard too, man. They just all they got to do is just get in the right spot and then bam. There's actually a dude that plays that is bigger than you for sure.
Yeah. Well, taller and bigger.
Same height, bigger. He's probably like 330.
So so that means like his face looks super fat.
There was one time when he set a screen on me. I actually didn't see him coming because he kind of was standing behind me at an angle, and I was backpedaling.
Yeah.
And I ran into him, and like I could feel my spine like crack a whole bunch. Like I basically got a nice little chiropractic adjustment there in the wrong direction.
Was it like that?
Yeah.
Was it like that?
It's like an accordion.
Remember that movie from the early 2000s with Ben Stiller where he's playing basketball and
Meet the Fockers.
Is that the one where like this he runs into this?
It's Along Came Polly. That's what it is with Jennifer Aniston.
Or he runs into this big fat hairy guy and all of the sweat just goes on his face.
Oh, totally. Well, no, there is one dude that plays at our gym that we call him Hairy Arms Guy.
Yeah.
And he, he'll wear like the sleeveless shirt, but when he works up a sweat, it reminds me of that exactly.
I sweat a ton. When I was this This is what's so sad. I'm talking about it like if it was ancient history, but it's really only been 2 years. I was 230 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
That's not crazy.
Okay.
That's actually I changed the locked photo on my phone to me when I was 230.
Okay. Nice. To give you a little motivation.
Yeah, either that or to just completely push me over the edge and say screw it, give me a pizza. Yeah, it hasn't been that long, but I would do these boxing workouts where at the end, like every single bit of clothing I wore is soaked in sweat. You could wring out socks, underpants, like everything.
Yeah.
Was completely like the shoes. I would step down with the shoes and the sweat would puddle up on top. Like if I had just stepped in like if it was raining and you stepped in a puddle. So yeah, that's pretty gross.
Well, there's other ways that you can like lose weight besides just having to get on that bike too, because that's just one aspect of it.
Well, I know it's the diet.
Well, the diet's also an aspect of it, but there's like even things like cold showers.
Mushrooms?
No, cold showers. Have you ever taken a cold shower, an ice cold shower before?
Well, yes.
Yeah, and for how long? How long did you take it?
For like a minute.
This got to be like 10 minutes on the coldest.
10 minutes?
On the coldest setting you can put on your shower. So what you basically do is, I think it's called a Scottish shower, where what you start with like warm water, hot water. So take a normal shower.
Yeah.
And then after you kind of get heated up, you start gradually making the shower colder.
Yeah.
And then you kind of keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And you start reaching the point where the water is cold. And it's the way that I would compare it is like, say you're on like some hot beach in like Southern California or Hawaii or something.
Yeah.
And that, you know how they have like the cold showers on the beach.
Right.
Kind of feels like that. So it's like refreshing at first, but you go through like 30 or 45 seconds of like, I mean, it's pretty much hell because you're basically shivering.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah, but what happens is you activate something called brown fat. So your body has two
Mexican
types.
fat? That's racist.
No, there's two types of fat, like white fat and brown fat.
Oh, the white fat is a good one?
Yeah, no, the white fat is is the bad one in this case. No, I'm not even kidding. It actually is the bad one. So like cold showers, they activate brown fat, which what happens is that generates heat for the body. And so it allows your body to burn calories to keep warm.
That's the brown fat.
That's the brown fat.
See,
so what happens is
it's working.
No, you start what happens is when you're standing in there, your body starts heating up and you don't feel the cold anymore. You just feel like you're standing under running water that's like lukewarm.
Yeah.
And you can do that for like 7 or 8 minutes, but at the same time, you're activating brown fat. And when you are in like intense cold like that for that long, it can increase your brown fat up to like 15 times. And so that basically it improves like blood circulation. It improves like oxygen uptake to your muscles.
Yeah.
So like if you're doing strength training and stuff, it's good for like muscle recovery.
So I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
I do my regular shower. And then I go hot.
You start hot, yeah. Just to kind of make sure you're comfortable. And also maybe you do your like shampooing and all your business.
Yeah, you do the work.
you get the work done, yeah.
and then after that, when you're all done and you have nice, I don't know, nice warm water.
Instead of taking 10 minutes to sing in the shower on the hot setting after you're all done with the work, you do a different kind of work.
Yeah.
And that's where you start making the shower a little bit colder.
So gradual. Like over how long of a duration?
For me, when I would do it like, I would say probably like within 30 seconds to a minute, I've gone from lukewarm to ice cold. Maybe a couple minutes. Like the last cold setting can be kind of difficult. I mean, and you don't have to go all the way cold on the first one.
Yeah.
Like you could kind of in different times.
Oh, I'll go all the way cold.
The reason why I started doing this was because I went on this golf trip to the Oregon coast where we played 6 rounds in 4 days. And I had paid for this thing in advance. It was like $1,000 trip.
Wow.
And I had hurt my back diving on the turf in softball like probably 6 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
And I was already committed to this trip. And so I knew that I was going to have like a little bit of issues with my back, when I was on this trip. And so basically what I did in between the rounds, because we would do one round the first day, and then the next 2 days were 2 rounds apiece. So we had a morning round and an evening round. And then the final day was 1 round. And this was all walking. So this is Abandoned Dunes Golf Course. And it's like...
Abandoned Dunes?
It's called Abandoned Dunes.
Oh,
it's like a world-class, some world-class golf courses.
Yeah.
That are right on the Oregon coast, like really beautiful scenery and stuff. And it's just a trek because there's just a lot of hills. And so I just knew it was going to be trouble. And each night and each morning I did these cold showers, and it helped my back recover every single time. I still didn't play as good as I could because golf is fucking hard.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of my back that I that I played bad a couple rounds. It was because I'm not a professional golfer.
Yeah. What's your handicap?
My handicap right now is, I would say between like a 12 and a 16. It's been as high. It's been as high as like an 8. So like I just played my first round last weekend, Sunday after Easter, like Sunday, like for like 2.5 hours. I got in a round.
Where?
In the evening at Echo Falls Golf Course in Snohomish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And just solo, just you?
Just me. Yeah. And I went there and I played my first round, and that was 13 over par. So
hey,
yeah,
that's
I was
just
happy
a
with
bogey
that.
a hole.
It's between a par and a bogey a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was, I was happy with that. But I played some high school golf, so I can work my way around a golf course, but I know I'm not good enough to be a pro, and that kind of makes me depressed because they make hella money.
Indeed.
And it would be fun to compete in those things too. I would always worry about hitting a line drive like right off someone's face though. Or, hitting some like...
That they're so close, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with my luck, I would try to hit one at the green, and then I would smash one over, and then I'd hit like the one person that just had hip surgery,
right,
like right on that hip. Because like there was a time where I actually played in this charity golf tournament through work at Microsoft, and it was at Bear Creek in Redmond, private club, and one of the holes, like if you got a hole in one, you'd win like a lease on a car, like a really nice car. It was like a Mercedes or something like that.
Nice.
It was really nice. And it was like a 180-yard hole. And I just remember like, well, the one thing I don't want to be is short. I don't want to be short of the hole. So I was like, I'll take a little bit more club just to make sure I at least have a chance of getting it there. And there's a bunch of people kind of sitting on the hillside. There's like a little tent that's on the hillside where people are watching. And I stood over my ball, and I just had some like extra juice going through my body at the time. Yeah. That plus the extra club, like it's.
And then the pre-workout you did.
Well, I was like, and I'm going to take like a nice 2/3 swing and try to get like a nice little solid contact. And I think I went a little past 2/3, and I just juiced it like probably 50 yards over the hole and like right by their tent.
Oh,
like not far from their tent. So I didn't even come close to getting that prize.
Well, at least you did it. Yeah, at least you didn't knock anybody out.
Yeah.
I played golf in Phoenix years ago, and I hit 2 houses.
Nice. Yeah, I've done that for sure.
That's
Have you had anybody come out and did they come out and ask you to pay for it or anything?
No.
I had an old
I don't
lady.
think I caused damage.
Yeah. I had an old lady come out at Redmond when I was playing at Redmond Ridge.
Yeah.
I snap hooked a shot, and it hit like right off her roof. I'm pretty sure they were watching a movie. It was just something like where it was quiet, like a nice dramatic moment, and then I smashed the roof. And she came out and she just yelled, and it's like, what are you supposed to say?
What did she yell?
Oh, she's like, you hit my house. Oh, geez.
It's like, yeah, no kidding. You live on a golf course, lady.
You live on a golf course. Exactly.
So if you break something, you do have to pay for it?
You broke my roof, God damn it. I'm like, okay. I didn't break your roof. It's right there.
Wait, but if you had broken a window, who pays for that?
I don't think you have to. It depends. I mean, I guess it depends on how.
I would just run.
Like if you hit
You won't catch me, coppers.
Well, I was playing Jackson Golf Course in high school because we used to play that golf course.
Yeah.
And there's a I-5 runs along hole number 3.
Right.
There's actually one street that runs along hole number 3, and then I-5 runs behind it. And it was a par 4 where you're supposed to like lay up. But you could also crush it down the hill. So they totally entice you. But there's kind of a lake on the right side of the green. So if you really have to hit like your driver accurate.
Yeah.
And I remember like, well, I'm just going to go for it. but I snap hooked it off the tee and just launched it. And I was like, that might have gone on I-5. So if that would have caused like a giant car pileup, I
my
don't know if
goodness.
I probably would have been liable for sure.
Well, how are they going to prove it's you
Yeah, exactly.
unless you put your name on your ball
Well, especially since we were sneaking on the golf course there anyway.
and
So
your phone number?
not like they had us paying. No.
Did you watch the Masters?
I was able to watch the second half of the final round. I was at a buffet in Texas.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, we were just done setting up our booth for a conference,
Nice.
and I had a chance to go to the bar and get a giant margarita, and then eat buffet for like 3 hours, and
Texas
it was nice.
buffet.
Yeah, well, it was like a breakfast lunch buffet, so
Yeah.
I could start with some breakfast food, like just a ton,
Right.
and then they wheeled out the prime rib, and it was like, oh my goodness, They realized I'm going to spend my whole day here, right?
That's right.
Especially since Tiger was only on hole like 11 or 12.
Well, let's talk about this Tiger thing for a little bit.
Sure.
But before that, let's take a quick break for a sponsor.
Perfect.
We'll be right back.
When I needed updated content for my small business website, I was worried because I didn't have a very large marketing budget. But then I found Carlos at CZ Media. He gave me a budget-friendly quote and delivered the high-quality content I was looking for. I would recommend you check him out. All of his information is in the show notes.
And we're back. I was so excited watching Tiger. I saw the first round. I saw some of the first round. I'm like, okay, he's hanging in there. He's hanging in there. Then I saw some of the second round, and whoo, like he's been cut so many times from
Not making the cut.
Yeah, not
after
making the cut.
Second day, yeah.
So he made the cut, and that's all I was hoping for. It's like as soon as I learned that he made the cut, I just stopped paying attention, and then I watched a big part of the third round, and then I just pretty much watched the whole fourth. It was so cool. I'm a huge Tiger fan still.
Okay.
Because when you think about it, he really didn't do anything that horrible to deserve.
I mean, he just fucked up his own life.
Well, yeah,
And then he got injured.
it's like he didn't. You're right. He hurt himself and his family, but remembering all of the hatred that he got, it just didn't seem appropriate. The level of hate that he got.
Well, I'm at the point where I definitely root for Tiger. I've always rooted for him because I think it's actually really good for the game of golf.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the I'm not sure if you saw the picture of the guy that's walking around in the gallery with the mugshot of him when he was at his lowest.
No, there was a dude who had it printed on his T-shirt.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did you?
Yeah.
So there was a video of Tiger laughing at it.
Oh, was he? See, that's good. If he can laugh at that, that shows he's kind of in the right space.
Yeah, it was in the fourth. It was on Sunday, because at least I think it was on Sunday, because I think I remember seeing Tiger wear red. But yeah, he was coming out or walking to a hole, and there was a guy right in front that was wearing it, and then Tiger just looked at it, and then he smiled, and then he kept on going. So it just seems like. It just seems like all of the hate he was getting and all of the negativity, it would have seemed like if he had been a huge Me Too predator.
So do you feel like you root for him more than because you don't think that all the hate is justified?
I don't think it was.
Okay. But so what about from like a actual, like the golf aspect of it?
Oh, well,
like the history of it. Like he's now chasing down Jack Nicklaus's record for major wins.
He's as close as I'm going to get to a Michael Jordan type figure.
And yeah, he absolutely has been the Michael Jordan of that sport. But
Right.
Whereas Michael was able to come back from baseball and still dominate.
Yeah.
Tiger is now having to show that he can come back from his kind of break in his career but the good news is for him, golf is one of those sports where you can actually become excellent at an older age.
Yeah. I mean, he's still young.
There was a guy that used to hit at the driving range when I played high school golf that was like a scratch golfer, which means like you're at the point where you can kind of compete for pro level.
Yeah.
You can get like a job as like a head professional at a golf course, or you can actually try to compete.
Right.
And this guy was like, had just started golfing at like age 40, and he was in his 50s or late 40s. And I was watching him hit golf shots, just like throwing darts out at the driving range. Yeah, and he just kind of, I remember him telling me like, yeah, I didn't start this until I was like older. And like, because there is a notion that, and it is true that like in golf, especially if you start at an early age, like when you're in first grade or something like that,
Right.
you're developing muscle memory, and golf is like
mechanics
the mechanics are a huge thing. Like for me, I had to battle a baseball swing, and I still do. And because a baseball swing is very different than a golf swing. So like actually hockey players or tennis players will sometimes have an easier time like translating to golf than baseball players.
I would kind of disagree with you a little bit.
Well, baseball players will hit like kind of an outside in swing, like kind of a strong right shoulder, like if you're right-handed.
Yeah.
And in golf, you want to come in from the inside. You want to have like a swooping motion, and you want to kind of swing from the inside to the out.
Well,
and
you're talking there about position.
I'm talking like swing plane.
Well, right. But not the basic biomechanics that your body's actually going through.
Well, so in baseball, like you start with the bat elevated, right? And so you have your like shoulder up.
Sure.
And so the motion to swing is like when you're swinging an axe, when you swing an axe to chop wood, you're bringing your right shoulder if you're right-handed.
Sure. Well,
and
I completely agree with you on that part. But what I'm saying is that what I'm thinking is a little bit more fundamental than that.
Okay.
They're similar in that you have to be centered and you have to be balanced across that whole motion.
Oh, for sure.
So your knees, your feet, your knees, your hips, your shoulders,
and it's all kinetic energy as well.
Have to be
like
and
transferring.
You know
from
what
your
would
legs.
be super cool?
Yeah.
If you would want to try this. So Coach Trish, right? She's been on the show lots of times. She does a type of training called functional patterns.
Okay.
Where it's all biomechanics.
Oh, cool.
So her whole thing is being centered, feet, knees, hips, and shoulders, and how to turn, because there are commonalities between throwing a punch, a golf swing, and a baseball swing, of how you turn your body. Like not necessarily hand position, right? Because of course,
especially how you like clear your hips,
has
right?
its thing. So it's how do you move your shoulders and where your hips are, and how you move your torso to generate the power, because you need to, ultimately it's generating power from a centered, balanced position.
Well, that's why having strong legs is so important too.
So it would be cool if you trained with her at least a couple times, because what she'll teach you is she'll teach you how to identify the feeling of being centered. And even though I'm mega fat right now, I would have my lower back would just get super stiff if I was standing for more than 20, 30 minutes. Just really, really tightness in my lower back. And I trained with her a few times, and I analyzed how I walk and my posture, and I would tell her this, and she's like, the reason your lower back is getting so tight is because you're hunched over.
Right.
Your weight is your weight and hips are over your knee, are further out than your knees.
That's interesting, because that actually happens to software people that work on computers all day. Even if they're not overweight, they'll have a tendency of leaning into the monitor, and then it makes your hips stiff.
Right.
And then it can put pressure on your lower back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, so what she said is, when you're in this position and your lower back is getting tight, just stop and then say, okay, where's my shoulders? Where's my hips? And when that happened, I would be hunched over. So then I just fix it by putting my shoulders over my hips, and that tightness goes away. And that is just like the tip of the iceberg as far as how to think and how to feel your biomechanics. And then if I were to actually get motivated and start training with her more, that then transitions to knowing how that feels when you're punching or when you're hitting. And one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced was I was in Mexico in last October, and my friend invited me to go play golf. And I hadn't played 18 holes in years and years.
But did you play before that?
Like the last time that I played semi consistently was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
I played in a little bar league.
Oh, nice.
We would play every Wednesday. Just an executive course.
Which course? Do you know?
Inner Bay.
Oh, nice.
We would play Inner Bay.
That's a nice little par 3.
It's a nice little par 3. So we would just go and play and then go back to the bar and drink. And so it's been a long time since I played for real. So I'm like, holy cow, should I go? It's like I wanted to go. So I did. So I played 18 holes without having even held a golf club in years. And I did really well. I didn't lose any balls. I hit my drives mostly straight. But I credit the fact that I took what she taught me of how to identify shoulders, hips, knees into proper mechanics. So if I can identify an improvement and my swing is not refined at all, like having you who you know your swing, and then to have her teach you what it's really like to be balanced, that would be an interesting test to see what then how that then
how that
relates
translates.
to the thing.
Well, the difficulty thing in golf is maintaining consistency because you're repeating that same swing. So it's like you hit a shot and you're like, oh my goodness, I was just 180 yards away and I put it like 3 feet from a tiny little hole.
Yeah, how do you do that again?
Why can't I do that again? Right. The next one, you hit a hosel rocket off of a squirrel's face, like while it's, in the bushes or something.
Yeah. Well, that's to us who aren't, well, you're way, way better than me, but to those who aren't pro, that's where that consistency comes in, is knowing really what your body feels like when it's centered and balanced.
Well, the centered and balanced thing is really interesting. Like, as you know, I play basketball and stuff. I was kind of going through like a tiny little slump with my shooting. And a friend of mine noticed that what I was doing when I was jumping, I would jump first and I'd still be raising the ball up. And then I would shoot almost like a fragmented chain of events.
Okay.
Whereas instead having a nice kinetic balance of where you're bending your knees, you're jumping as you're bringing the ball up, and then you have a flick of the wrist like Steph Curry or something like that.
At the top of the...
Yeah, and it just made like a huge difference because I actually was able to have much better balance and flow within that motion. And you're right that every single sport has an element of balance and flow and motion and muscle memory.
Right. One of the... when it comes to baseball, Trish has shared a video of was it Bo Jackson who was outfield and then ran and basically ran on the wall?
That was Bo Jackson, yeah.
So that is the people who study and practice functional patterns use that as an example of what it means to be centered, because if you watch that at slow motion, his hips they are straight to his shoulders. So that's why he's able to keep that energy going up. And then plus the fact that he was just incredibly strong, right? But to be able to do that, if you go and you look at how he's positioned, he doesn't lose his plane. And they want to train people on how to first identify that plane, to know how it feels to be on plane, and then keep it in your regular life.
Right.
So it's pretty. I think you really should. I think you really should.
That's interesting.
You should at least chat with her.
Anything to improve the golf game. I mean, golfers will try anything. Have you seen Tin Cup? That's like a classic one.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Where what's her name? Renee Russo.
Yeah.
She goes to Kevin Costner's driving range to learn golf, to get taught golf.
Right.
And she brings with her just some crazy stuff, like just all these things bouncing from her head that are connecting to these these poles and strings that are coming off her arms. Just
Oh,
like
there's
crazy.
so many.
Yeah, there's that's kind of like a nice little joke on if you walk into a golf shop, there's all different kinds of
AIDS and
well, there's one thing that I bought when I was trying to find actually tempo. It's called the Orange Whip,
yeah,
and it's like this. It looks like a golf club, but on the end is like this orange ball
right.
that's weighted, but on the other end of the grip, the other side of it, there's like a counterweight, and so it's like a really whippy kind of club. And so when you swing it, it forces you to not overswing, but to swing at the right tempo to
Keep that ball in line.
Yeah, my friends, I'd have that in my bag. You're not supposed to actually technically have any training aids on a golf course. And so like, but you're playing just like weekend rounds of golf. Who cares, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, who cares? I played with this one guy who would be so serious.
You can pay like, $5, $10 and play matches with your buddies and get it serious. But there are people that when they play, they're like, golf is life, man. Like they're spending a lot of money on their hobby.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like to have. One time I played with the dude who took it mega serious, and I was cheating. I was teeing up my fairway shot.
But what does he care? I mean, it's your round. You're only cheating yourself, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, when he saw me, like I had been doing it the whole round, and I think I didn't get caught till like the 16th.
Was he afraid the golf gods were gonna like put a curse on your group?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just couldn't lighten up this guy, but he saw me bend over, and then he must have just seen me stick the tee into the ground, and then he had hit it, I don't know, 20 yards ahead of me, and then he just screamed. He's like, "Are you teeing that up?" I said, "No." But I did, and he got so mad. Well, he threw his club and did it. He just picked up his ball and didn't finish the hole. And I finished the hole, and we played, and he was in the car already waiting to go to the next hole. That's how pissed off that he got.
Kept playing with you guys?
Yeah, he kept
on.
So
he didn't take a score for that hole because he was so mad at you for just teeing up a fairway shot.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously doesn't care about his golf score if he's not taking a score. He probably just wrote down, "I got a birdie," because this guy fucked with my head.
It's like, I didn't care. Like,
if this guy wouldn't have been here, I totally would have birdied it. He ruined my flow.
When I play, I don't even keep my own score, which is probably a bad thing.
Well, that's kind of like, that's what you're supposed to do in golf, though.
I just go to have fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like, I'm not, like, I go, if I don't lose 5 balls, then I'm happy. Yeah. And if I don't spend 15 minutes looking for a ball, I can find it relatively easy and I can keep up. That's a win for me.
Have you ever played night golf?
Once.
See, we used to, me and some friends, we used to sneak into the Seattle Golf Club by the Highlands and Shoreline.
Yeah.
And we would play with these golf balls called the tracer ball.
Right.
And so what those are is when you hit them, there's like a strobe light in them. There's like a red like LED strobe, and it looks like a beacon.
Right.
And so you smash that thing, and then you can find it like in the bushes because it's like this bright red light. But
then you need to play on a course that's been properly maintained.
Oh no, that course is like, it's tens of thousands of dollars to play there.
Oh, okay.
For membership. It's actually attached to the Highlands, which is like where there's like all these giant mansions and stuff that are big houses. It's just a part
if you're playing on a little rinky-dink course that
is not a rinky-dink course.
that they don't keep it up, then
that's a course where we had like guard dogs chasing us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's where you like, all right, time to leave. You could hear them coming though. Release the hounds. Those kids are back. Yeah.
We should go play.
We used to also go down to the driving range with pillowcases and fill up the pillowcases with golf balls and then go hit them in the ocean, which is fun.
Wow. That's
a waste.
You're an eco-terrorist.
Yeah, I guess so.
What if one of these turtles eats one of these golf balls?
They're not gonna eat a golf ball. I mean, you might plug it in a blowhole of a whale.
What if you did that?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, didn't that happen on Seinfeld?
It did.
With Kramer.
Kramer did, and then George had told the person he was dating that he was a marine biologist.
Nice.
That's so funny. No, we should go play.
Well, the season's just starting.
Well, I don't want to play 18 Because like we said, I'm mega fat.
Well, let's. How about I was talking about Green Lake earlier because I know we're gonna go play basketball at some of the pickups there.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool.
Outside?
Yeah.
Is that where you play? I thought you
No,
played
I've
at
never.
the gym.
I've never played out. Well, I've never played there. I play outdoors also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I just haven't played Green Lake.
Right.
But they also have that little golf course, so we could hit that up.
Jefferson is right down the street.
Yeah, Jefferson is. That's where Fred Couples learned to play.
It's hard. I
It's a
played
it's a tough
Jefferson
course.
once.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That one's kind of like under the same ownership as West Seattle and
Yeah, they're
Jackson.
public courses.
Those are all like really old courses. Actually, those courses are so old that they start with a par 5, like a long, easy par 5.
Yeah.
Jackson's been under repair since then, but the old school golf courses would start you with like a long par 5 that, or maybe not a long par 5, just a par 5 that was fairly easy.
Yeah.
Like one of the easier holes on the course, because back in the day, they didn't really have this concept for going to a driving range to hit a bucket of balls before, or like practicing.
Yeah.
You know, they had like the putting greens and chipping greens and stuff, but they used to think of that first hole as like almost like your warm up into the round.
Right.
So they kind of made it easy on you. Now, when you go to newer courses, you step up on the first tee and you're butt tight from the very beginning because you're like, oh my God, there's a pond right there. There's a couple bunkers over there. Yeah. So
I should show you the pictures of the course I played in Mexico.
Yeah.
It was what's her name? Lorena.
Did you see any?
Lorena Ochoa.
Do you see any? Oh, really? Okay.
So she's probably one of the most famous female golfers.
Yeah.
That's her course.
Oh, cool. So you probably didn't see any baby coyotes, some pups.
No, it's a beautiful course.
I saw those in Palm
right along
Springs.
the ocean.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice.
Super nice.
Was it pretty windy when you played? Because it usually is.
No, it wasn't, which was
Really?
part of the problem because our tee time was at 8:30, and by 8:45 it was 97 degrees.
Oh, nice.
No, not nice.
No, man, I love golfing in the heat, man. Because
I was wearing a shirt like yours,
so a collared long sleeve.
with jean shorts.
Not the jorts.
Jean shorts, and I thought that the marshal was good. Actually, the guy who I went with, he's like, if there's people here, the marshal is going to tell you can't wear that. But luckily,
the shorts?
Yeah, because they have a strict dress code.
Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. In Hawaii, I got warned because I took my shirt off when I was golfing in Maui at the
no one wants
Blue
to see
Wailea.
your man.
No, there was nobody around.
boots.
That's the thing. Nobody was golfing. And it was like, come on, just this hole, I'm going to take my shirt off. I don't want this crazy farmer's tan. And then of course, like 30 seconds after I take my shirt off, the one ranger comes over the hill.
He's like, put that no public nudity.
I'm like, I just paid $180 to golf here.
And which is why other people paid $180 to not see.
There was Mai Tais in the golf cart.
Were
like
there?
in the refrigerator, and it was like that was a good touch. I'll give it to you for $180. At least that was a nice little touch.
No, so the front 9, I was exhausted. I was so tired, and granted, I didn't even tell you I'm playing with 70-year-old guys.
Nice.
And for about hole 7, 8, and 9, I'm contemplating waiting for them in the clubhouse.
Why? Are they
Because
playing
I was tired.
Were they? Oh, you were tired. Okay, I wasn't sure if they were playing slow.
No.
Okay.
That's why I was exhausted, because they had a normal pace of play, and I was struggling to keep up.
Did you have like the right amount of water and alcohol? Because you have to make sure you.
We did.
Yeah.
I even ate some energy bars.
Because that's how I did the
Sandy
120 degree round in Palm Springs.
No, we did. We were drinking beers, but we also had a lot of water, and I was drinking. I did have a snack, and I was just exhausted.
Dude, you need more than a snack, man.
So I'm thinking, it's like, I'm just gonna wait for them in the clubhouse, and then we finished the front 9, and I'm like, you know what? If I wait for them in the clubhouse, I'm never gonna let this down. They are going to make fun of me forever that a couple 70-year-old guys just
who's gonna make fun of you?
Everybody.
Oh, I was gonna say you don't have to worry about the 70-year-old guys for very long because
No.
they're 70. You know what I mean? Like if you're worried about them saying
They're gonna live forever, and they would have.
Oh, really? Are they?
I would have. I would have been mega disappointed in myself, and yeah. So I'm like, okay, I gotta dig deep and finish this back 9. It was one of the hardest things that I've done.
Did you were in a cart though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But since I don't hit balls remotely close where I want them to, I wasn't in the cart for that
you had
long.
to walk into the
And but then the back 9, I don't know what happened. Maybe I drank a beer more than I did in the front 9, but I just found my stride.
Oh, it's called aiming fluid.
Is that what
Yeah, because like once you have the right amount of alcohol,
well, because it's like you got to get loosey goosey.
imagine a bell curve.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine that for aiming fluid with alcohol. So maybe 1 or 2, you're starting to, okay.
Yeah.
But maybe once you get to like 3, maybe that's the top of the bell curve where you're like still able to function, but you're losing some inhibitions a little bit.
Yeah.
But it quickly goes downhill after that. So you got to be careful. You don't.
Oh yeah.
If somebody brings a fifth of Crown Royal into the cart, you've really got to work.
But the good thing with
Yeah.
golfing in that hot of weather is that you sweat it out so easy. So it does require constant
Well, the water, right?
or the booze.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying you need to have water.
Yeah.
So for me,
But you sweat out the booze.
You sweat out some of it. You're still gonna get a hangover. Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's just the water. That's the main aspect of it. You just need to make sure you're hydrated.
Yeah.
You're peeing a lot too, so you're just there's not a lot of bathrooms on golf courses. So
I finished the whole round and I was soaked in sweat. The jeans were completely soaked in sweat. Luckily, I knew that this was going to happen, so I took a change
Carlos,
of clothes.
did you just get out of the hot tub?
Almost.
Oh no, I just golfed.
No, it really looked like if I had just jumped into the pool.
Yeah.
Everything was soaked, and I had to change afterwards. But that back 9, man, that I thought for sure that I was going to take that. I was going to parlay that feeling of doing great on the par 9 to going and playing now, but it's been months and I haven't gone. I have these brand new tailor-made clubs that have only been used maybe once or twice.
Okay. Nice.
So we should go at least do the driving range, do the Jefferson driving range.
Jefferson.
Yeah, because it's close to here.
Oh, for you. Yeah.
It's close for you. Isn't it?
It's only just a hop across the lake.
That's not bad.
That's not too bad. Do they have a range at Jefferson?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. So, but all this hinges on me losing
weight. Well,
Because
you're,
I wanna
you're on
start-
day 1 right now.
I want to
so-
start boxing again, but it's just so tough.
Dude, it's just got to become a way of life. If you can just make it part of your daily routine, where you just maybe you make like one change each day, like subtle changes.
I think the first thing I'm going to do is not drink as much.
Well, you want to drink water. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, you're talking about alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe cut down on the carbs a little bit.
Well, the usually what I do with the alcohol is like my reward, like after I play basketball, like I know I'm sore and all that stuff, but I'm like, I like being able to be like, oh, I'm going to go home and have like a couple shots of tequila.
Yeah.
Like that's my reward after I do my workout or
Right.
play basketball.
See, I don't even think I don't even think alcohol would be my reward. I think it would be eating.
It would be what?
Eating.
Eating's your reward?
Something food.
Well, then
related.
alcohol's got to have some kind of reward for you or else you wouldn't do it. Right?
No, but I wouldn't reward myself with alcohol. I would reward myself with something.
So when are you going to drink the alcohol before you go work out?
Well, if you stick with vodka.
Oh, because of the dude from Rocky, right? I'm sure he drank vodka. Ivan Drago?
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, because because I'm shooting here for a low carb.
Low carb, okay.
Like if I had the full motivation, which I don't, I would do the keto.
Right. Yeah, that's the mostly fat diet
Yeah.
where you actually have to limit the amount of protein you can even take, or else it can throw you out of ketosis.
No,
So-
you want to be in ketosis.
No, but that's what I mean. You want to be in ketosis, but even if you have
Oh, I
too
see what
much
you're
protein, it can actually take you out of ketosis.
Yeah. So, but if I do that, then I'm going to have to buy the keto strips to really know if you're in ketosis or not.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, the people that I've seen that are on the ketogenic diet, I've seen some people that have like drastic results.
It works.
Drastic results, almost to the point where it's like too much.
Maybe.
Like I've seen some people drop heavy amount of pounds. So it could actually be really effective in like dropping the weight pretty quickly, which would be good for you, right?
Well, no, because then it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, but if you can change your daily patterns, like you don't have to be in ketosis the whole time. The thing is when you build up more muscle than fat, your body has to burn more calories to maintain muscle than it does fat.
Correct.
So the more that you're building muscle and burning fat, the easier it's going to be for you to maintain that.
Yeah.
So it's the
but
hard.
still, even then, the reason I don't just jump right into doing a keto diet is because I won't keep it up.
I wouldn't
know
want to do
won't.
it. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to stop eating protein. You know what I mean?
But that is pretty high of a number, though.
It's a high. Well, I mean, I like eating a lot of protein, though.
It's still like for the ketosis to be messed up by a high amount of protein.
We'd have to look it up per body, like what your weight is and how much it would actually be. Because you're right.
Overall, it's just more work. And I know that I'm not going to keep it up. So I'm easing into this. Like I did 30 minutes on the bike. It was painful, but I did it. And then I did a little bit of a fast, only drank coffee and water. And then I think I'm just going to start with decreasing overall, cutting carbs as much as possible while still enjoying myself.
If you do have carbs, though, like you can have complex carbohydrates, stuff like potatoes, where there's actually like really good.
Yeah, like sweet potatoes.
Like potatoes are great for you. So, but I mean, the main thing is having those either before or after a workout, because you want to have glycogen in your muscles.
Yeah.
For your workout, and then you also need to be able to replenish those when they're used in your workout. They'll help your muscles recover.
Or white rice.
Yeah, well, white rice is definitely a carbohydrate for sure. Brown rice has like a fiber to it.
The
fiber aspect.
I read that what is minute rice called?
Minute rice? You mean like the box rice?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it's called. I know what you're talking about.
What that process is. I read that actually that is lower on the glycemic index because it's gone through a certain processing.
Oh, really?
And it's almost like boiling it where it takes the starch out of it.
Oh, okay.
Like they do something to the rice in the processing of it that actually doesn't make it as high on the glycemic level than regular rice.
Interesting.
So
that way you don't have to eat brown rice?
That way although I like brown rice.
Brown rice is one of those like tricky things where if it's been like sitting out too long, it can get like hard. Right?
I like that.
You like that? You like cracking your teeth on little rice pellets?
I like the extra texture that you get because this is what I'm gonna do.
Might as well you like grape nuts, didn't you, as a kid?
I did.
That cereal?
Heated though.
Okay.
Although that's
like eating like a bowl full of pebbles.
Or like mush, oatmeal. I was a big oatmeal fan. So this is what I want to do, because this is what's worked for me in the past. When I was 230, the last time I was 230, I would eat breakfast. I would make eggs, like 5 or 6 eggs with the yolks, and then throw a bag or a can of tuna into the egg. So basically I would make a tuna omelet. And that's it. Just pour hot sauce on it and then just eat that. And then for lunch, I would cook a pound of ground turkey. Just cook it. And they have these Uncle Ben pouches of rice where you can just put them in the microwave for 2 minutes. I would take half of that pouch and put it into the ground turkey and then just eat that with hot sauce. and then basically repeat it for dinner too, or have
I
chicken
like how you
for
put
dinner.
the hot sauce on there.
Yeah, like I would, for those types of things, I would rather have hot sauce than ketchup or
I
barbecue.
would almost always rather have hot sauce and ketchup,
Yeah. So that's,
except for on a hamburger.
if I can stick with that, if I can do that 3 to 4 days per week, I think I can have some pretty quick, drastic results. And then once I get more comfortable, once I drop some weight, then I'll be more inclined to go back to the boxing gym and actually start boxing again. And then the burning calorie floodgates are going to be open. So I figure it's going to, if I really wanted to, I can lose those 70 pounds in 6 months.
Wow, that would be more than wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit. That's like more than a pound a day, right?
That's like, 10 pounds a month.
Okay.
A little more than 10 pounds a month.
10 pounds a month. That's right. My bad.
I could do that. So
10 pounds a month is a lot, though.
so this is so if I started now, by November, I could be like 280 by summer, and then by October basically this year I could be at 230, 235 if I.
You got to start today and then keep on it.
That's the problem. Like, I'm going to go to a horror convention this weekend, and although I'm going to walk a ton, but we're going to drink a ton.
Horror, right? Not whore. Okay. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
No, you heard right. Horror. I got horrors from around the world.
Nice. A horror convention. So
Horror convention.
Yeah. What are you gonna see there?
Just our friends and horror. I'm gonna make it a point to see as many short film festivals because they have a few of them. I love horror movie festivals; they're fun. And then maybe a feature length movie here and there. And
where are you going for this?
It's in SeaTac. It's at the Lion. What's that hotel? No, it's at the Hilton.
The Hilton. Nice.
In SeaTac. And there's a bunch of there's a lot of horror celebrities that are going to be there. But it's kind of weird because most of them charge you between $50 and $60 to get an autograph or a picture, or like $20 for a picture. Like, they don't do anything for free anymore. It's like, I don't want to pay $20 to take a picture with somebody. Although that's where I met these dudes, where I met Derek Mears, the dude who played Jason in the new movie, and this other guy who played Michael Myers. Like, that's where I met all these people. I don't think there's going to be anyone there this year that I absolutely need to do. Although, I'll tell you what I'm on the lookout for. A George Romero autograph.
I don't know who that is.
You don't?
No.
He was.
I don't know. I'm not really that attuned to the
He was a
horror
filmmaker.
genre.
He was a filmmaker out of Pittsburgh, and in the 60s, he made Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
And he died last year. He passed away. And he was supposed to have attended this horror convention last year. And he canceled, and then like a few weeks later, they said that he had died. So I really want a George Romero autograph. And then there's a bunch of panels of like the baddest women in horror, and how like the most haunted places in the Pacific Northwest. They have lots of panels where these experts talk about all of these things. They have a panel this weekend called How to Start Podcasting.
Oh yeah, are you going to that?
No, it'll be a waste of time. But I could totally be on that panel.
You should be on it.
I could totally do it. Because I should actually see who is on the panel and then listen to their shows and see how it sounds. Be like, my show sounds better than you.
I got actually invited when I was at the convention in Texas. There was a guy that's doing like a podcast for the software that we're selling, basically.
Did he?
For that type of time and billing, business intelligence, boring type
So
stuff.
his whole show is about that?
It's about that, yeah, for lawyers. I looked it up I was curious. It's like he was bragging about having like 500 episodes or something, but each one was like 6 or 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
There's only so much law firm software that you can probably take in one sitting, and he knows it.
Well, that's like that's something that as a creator you sort of debate. Like, what do you want? Do you want short and sweet, or do you want something a little bit more long form? And like sometimes I struggle with it because I want these shows to be easily digestible, which means that they would need to be short. But most of the time I just end up having such, to me, interesting conversations that I don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah,
And
I like
I'm
the
okay
long
with
ones
it
too.
being longer.
I think for something like that as well, like if you have like, I'm going to touch on this topic for like 5 or 6 minutes.
Sure. Well, because
and
it's
then
more educational.
Yeah,
like
right,
if I was
right.
doing like some sort of how to, or even if I were to make a YouTube video on how to do this, I would want it to be short and sweet. Just get right to the point.
Yeah, because
like,
you don't want your listener or your viewer to get kind of like, oh, this is a super long thing. They're not really getting to the point.
And you're not, if you're doing that, you're not really conveying any sort of, any sort of profound thought, or you're not really looking to really explain a point of view. It's pretty cut and dry that you're showing features or talking about process,
right?
Which a 6 to 7 minute show seems appropriate. I listened to this podcast called Writers, something about writer. I forget exactly what it's called, but they're 5 minutes, and all they do is they talk about a concept of writing for 5 minutes, and there's like 3 or 4 of them. There's like how to develop a character, or how to formulate they're pretty much how-tos, but it's super short. And I listened to a whole bunch of them, but I think that overall I get more enjoyment out of the really long ones. Like today I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast with Joe, Graham, Hancock, Michael Schumer.
Oh, is this an older one?
It's an old one.
Yeah, right. Michael Shermer, right.
Shermer.
He's actually a skeptic.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have some back and forth.
Oh yeah. They debated quite live. They had a lively debate. And also Randall Carlson.
That's a guy that he looks at landscapes from like a aerial view.
Right.
And he'll see like, he'll look at like a large landscape and see like some patterns of tearing that are happening at very large scales, which would indicate that like glaciers once went through there.
Yeah.
And
that was one of the things that he debated heavily with this other guy.
Right.
With this
Michael Shermer. Yeah.
Right. Well, this particular podcast, Shermer brought on somebody else.
Oh, his Skype buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was that was 3.5 hours. And I was doing some editing and working on a couple websites, but I listened to the whole thing, and that I just got more out of that than.
That's actually one of my favorite Joe Rogan episodes.
Yeah. They need to do another one of all of those 4 of those
He also
guys.
has had just Michael Shermer on as well.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to hear Joe Rogan talk to Michael Shermer.
He was annoying.
he was a lot more annoying in that podcast when he was arguing against Graham.
Yeah.
But when you actually hear him, he seems like like an open-minded skeptic in a way. Like he's not completely
Not on that
closed.
show he didn't.
Not on that show he didn't. But when I heard him with Joe Rogan with just Michael Shermer, he seemed a little bit more like willing to kind of listen to other people.
Right.
But when he was in a debate with Graham, that was a different thing.
Graham was bringing up facts, or I don't know. Yeah, he was bringing up facts, and okay, facts might be too strong of the word. He was bringing up credible evidence,
Right.
and Shermer would just say to everything. He would just say most geologists or most archaeologists disagree with you.
Yeah, he's there to defend an opinion he already has.
That's all. He never said. He never referred to another piece of data, or he never referred to anything else. It was always most don't believe you.
Right.
And he was kind of talking down to him a lot too, because he would say you guys, and he would say you people who come up with alternative archaeology or alternative history. And it was like that was sort of petty almost.
Well,
it's like, dude, you're saying these things that are all a matter of fact, but you're really not saying anything.
Right.
So but overall, it was an interesting thing to do. So I like the longer form better. But
Well, there is room for Graham Hancock to make a lot of these arguments and present these ideas based on some of the archaeological things that we found. They've actually had him on Ancient Aliens before, but he's there representing like we don't know how this was made according to the way that we've been told in the history books. But one thing that we do know is that sea level has risen over the last 10,000 years, and one of the things that he talks about is that a lot of these past civilizations would currently, because a lot of civilizations exist on the coast along the water,
right,
and so a lot of past civilizations could be underneath a lot of the oceans right now.
Because that's why we don't know,
and that's one reason why we don't know. And he talks about some scuba diving expeditions that they've gone on where you can actually kind of look at some structures that have some three-dimensional shape that looks like it's not natural, like that type of stuff. And so it leads to the idea that there's some past civilizations that have been advanced enough to have irrigation or streets and things like that that date back more years than what the history books kind of give it credit for. So that's basically what Graham argues.
And it's such an interesting topic overall. It's just I do find it super interesting.
Well, I have his some of his books, so you can borrow if you want, or you can get your ebooks.
I was gonna get him on Audible.
Yeah.
I want Audible.
I think he
would
reads
sponsor this.
I think he reads his own books too.
He does,
which is important.
Which one should I get first? Oh, the newest one, because he does.
I have Magicians of the Gods.
Yeah, no, the new one. I'm gonna get the new one.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out.
He was in Seattle recently.
Oh, nice.
He was in Seattle on April 30th.
Okay. Yeah, he actually likes Washington State. He likes the West Coast just because of the attitude of the people. Kind of suits him a little bit more. But he's a he's the type of person that he's not afraid to back down from people.
No, not at all.
He had one of his TED Talks pulled down. Right. Which is because he talked about some controversial things, but you can still search it.
It's still up there. And there was I believe, and I could be wrong, but one of the big reasons they took that TED Talk down was because he suggested that there was a meteor that a meteor had hit somewhere in the Arctic,
right,
or somewhere, and then when they found that Greenland crater.
Oh, that was recent that they found it.
Yeah,
right,
that sort
exactly.
of validated.
But he also talks about some controversial things about drugs.
Oh yeah,
and like he
likes
talked.
drugs.
Well, he likes talking about how alcohol is kind of used as a distraction, whereas like marijuana is demonized because it actually allows people to think inwardly and to actually question things a little bit more. Whereas alcohol is more like, think about where you see alcohol advertised for. It's bars, social events, NFL games, sporting events. Whereas marijuana is more like kind of people do it privately. I mean, you don't see very many people at a Mariner game just toking up. I remember a lot of people thought that you'd go to Mariner games and there'd just be people smoking weed everywhere. Yeah. And you just don't really see that.
Well, they sort of do.
They do in spots, but
they vape like crazy.
Yeah, but they're not always vaping. They're not always vaping marijuana though.
Oh, it smells like it.
Well,
I would say every time we go out.
But when you vape marijuana, you're not necessarily even smelling marijuana.
Well, it smells like something.
Like pineapple or something. Yeah, like they.
How does marijuana fit into fat loss?
How does it fit into fat loss?
Should I smoke weed? Because probably not, because it'll get me hungry.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, the one aspect of it where it can help also is CBD. You know what that is?
Yeah, I've taken that.
Like, what do you think of it? I haven't.
I don't think I took it consistently enough to really know. Stuff is expensive.
Right, it's expensive, but I've heard some people swear by it lowering like inflammation. Like they had a whole bunch of swelling in their knee, and then they took CBD.
I made a list.
And it went down.
Speaking of inflammation, I made a list the other day of inflammation reducing foods.
Oh, nice.
Like broccoli.
Cinnamon is one.
Cinnamon, broccoli, turmeric.
Oh, turmeric. Yeah, that's like
salmon.
You got to get the curcumin. Like the one thing about turmeric, you want to make sure that it has like the 5% black pepper because it won't absorb without that.
Yeah. There's I think what I have some. I'll show it to you after the show. I have something that has a lot of like chlorella.
Oh, cholera?
No, that's a disease.
I'm like, what are you getting cholera?
I'll show it to you, but it's supposedly similar to all that stuff. I just didn't take the CBD long enough to really feel anything. And since I'm not active, I can't really tell if I'm having less inflammation because I'm not really doing anything that would cause the inflammation to get worse. So maybe now that I'm actually going to be more active.
The cold showers will help with the inflammation.
Yeah.
And it's free.
And I mean,
it's actually save money.
Like booze is horrible for inflammation.
Yeah, it depends on which one you take. I mean, I think for me personally, like if I drink 2 shots of tequila after basketball versus 2 beers,
well, yeah.
I feel a lot more shitty if I have the 2 beers than if I take the 2 shots of tequila.
Yeah, the other day when we went out, I thought, I'm just going to pace myself and then just drink beer. And, I felt horrible afterwards.
Takes up a lot of space, man, and it's carbonated.
I felt so sloshy. Like I would just wiggle and I felt like there was a 55-gallon drum in my stomach just sloshing liquid around.
And you went from feeling sloshy to feeling sloshed.
Yeah. Well, no, I stopped after 2 and then I went to my trusty vodka tonics and I felt way better.
Oh, you went beer then liquor.
Yeah. But it was only 2. It was only 2 beers. It does nothing.
Yeah.
Considering I can drink a whole ton of beer. But the vodka tonic made me feel happy.
Nice.
Okay, Travis. Thank you so much for being on. We had a great conversation. I think I'm going to Photoshop our face onto something golf related.
Okay.
We spent
perfect
with maybe golf with like a shaman who's giving us ayahuasca.
You're gonna Photoshop all that?
I might. Are you going to ask your buddy about the mushrooms?
Well, like I said, man, I don't necessarily have a good contact for that, but I can ask around. I can ask around at the basketball court.
If anyone can get us mushrooms, send me a message. I want some mushrooms.
Yeah, no, like I was saying, just look it up on the internet and go hunt in the woods, and then report back.
Well, I guess that would be an active thing to do. Go on a hike.
Yeah, you get to solve 2 problems with 1 stone.
But don't you gotta like do something to it? You just can't eat them.
Well, the guy that was on Joe Rogan's podcast, the mushroom guy, have you seen his podcast?
Is he the Vice guy?
I forgot the guy's name, but he had a hat that was made of mushrooms.
Did he?
Yeah, and there's a Netflix special that talks about the history of mushrooms. That's also really interesting, how it's completely different than plants. It's actually more closely like related to animals and plants.
Yeah.
But his name's Paul Stamets. That's his name. If you want to YouTube the Joe Rogan podcast with him.
Okay, and he talks about mushrooms?
He talks about a story in that podcast where he was at the University of Washington, kind of down by the Ave at some point, or at some part down by the Ave. And like he found like a whole ton of like magic mushrooms that were growing. And there was like cops around or something like that didn't even notice, and a whole bunch of people that didn't notice. And I remember he basically said that he was looking around like he found like the mother lode, and like he's the only one that noticed. So this dude is like able to go around and basically like,
are they still there?
I doubt it. He talked about like that this was back in like the 70s or 80s or something.
So someone planted these there.
No, because
they were naturally?
Yeah, mushrooms grow naturally on like, it was probably dog shit. Somebody walking their dogs. Yeah, these mushrooms grow on, I think it's, just feces. I thought it was cow feces for them, but it can't be. It's got to be more than other than. I could be completely wrong with that.
My desire to try mushrooms has not gone down from me saying that.
Oh, if you knew that it was grown out of turds?
Everything grows out of turds.
Yeah. But I mean, that's one of those where, if
we got to try it.
Give it a shot.
I got to try it. All right. Well, thank you, sir.
All right, man.
I want to remind everyone to subscribe, like, share, donate. Click that donate button. Go to Teespring. It's in the notes. It's in the show notes for my line of merch. I have that new shirt with that cool logo, with that cool graphic design. get that. Follow our sponsors, CZ Media, which is me. I take pictures, make videos, manage social media accounts. And Rancho Bravo Tacos, they're delicious. They have a location in Capitol Hill and in Wallingford. Yeah, maybe some mushrooms and then some tacos.
Put that on the tacos.
Yeah.
Put your hot sauce on
Well,
there.
we probably shouldn't combine the two.
Intermingle.
Then, yeah, he might not appreciate that.
Yeah, maybe don't put it on tacos. Actually, I don't think mushrooms would go, any kind of mushroom would go well on a taco, would it?
It would.
Yeah.
A little
I guess
sauteed mushroom.
A fajita, like you can have mushrooms in some fajitas,
Yeah.
but a fajita is not a taco though, is it?
Well, you could. You turn your fajitas into tacos.
So at what point does a fajita not become a taco?
When you put the meat and vegetables in a tortilla.
Okay.
If you just eat it just like that, then you're just eating.
I'm realizing they're awfully close.
Yeah.
A soft taco and a fajita. But all right. Yeah.
Next show. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back.